Hey folks, Bamboo here. Welcome back to our short video series going through a lot of the movements that we went through in our full body mobility routine, breaking each of those down into more details and strengthening exercises, ways to prepare for those movements and why they're important. Today we're going to be talking about the feet and the ankles. The movements from our routine that we're referencing are these mobility movements for the ankle, moving our toes forward and back, making big circles with the toe. This is actually an exercise both for the ankle that is moving and the ankle that is stabilizing. The other exercises that we're going to be referencing are the exercises for the toes, which were these kneeling exercises where we come back onto the toes, putting more weight on the big toes, stretching them out, and then the version with our toes tucked under, stretch out our shins as well. So the ankles are super important in capoeira. We have a lot of positions and movements that involve having our knees bent past our toes, moving around in this position, often on one leg, using a lot of our ankle mobility and strength to hold our leg into position. We also use a lot of squatted positions with the knees over the toes, up on the balls of our feet, which require a lot of strength in the arches and the ankles as well. So how do we prep for some of that? Well, the exercises in this mobility routine are really about helping to get our feet strong enough and our arches strong enough to support our balance, which will allow our ankles to stay aligned in positions that are healthy for them. The first and easiest version of this is just single leg balance. So putting your weight on one leg and holding there. The entry level version of this is you can just hold this position for 30 to 60 seconds. If you want to make it a little bit more challenging, you can do this while having your eyes closed. That will really force you to concentrate on feeling what your ankle is doing and how to get those muscles to engage on both sides of your ankle in order to maintain your balance. Once that becomes easy, you can start to move the other ankle. This is going to introduce small disturbances that your supporting leg has to correct. So that's why we have these toes pulling forward and back and big circle movements. They're introducing some movement that we have to correct in our balance on the other side. You can also do these with your eyes closed for an extra challenge if you want. The next level above and beyond that, if you want to add some additional strengthening to that, is you can use resistance bands on the standing leg to add a little extra pull to the stabilizing leg and try to hold that balance and do the same thing. Either just stay here correcting the additional resistance or adding in additional movements to work on really stabilizing that leg and getting it to get used to balancing. You can also do exercises like balancing on a balance beam, things like that, if you have access to one. But I like these ones because they're all ones that you can easily do at home. The next thing we're going to talk about is the toes. So we're going to also talk about both sides of the body on either side of the ankle. So going further down, we're going to talk about our toes. In capoeira, we have a lot of positions where we're balanced on the balls of our toes, which means that our big toes need to be strong and engaged and able to stay in this position. We mimic that by coming down onto the ground, tucking our toes under, placing our knees into the ground, and then trying to sit back. We can build up to this by taking some of the weight off of our toes, putting some of the weight on our hands, and then gradually pushing our hips back over our heels, so that we add some weight to the toes. Once you find a place where you're feeling a stretch in the top of your foot, maybe even in the shin, you're just going to hold it there. And again, you can hold this for 30 seconds to a minute, maybe 2 or 3 sets in a routine, just to start to get your toes used to carrying that weight. As they get a little bit stronger, you might be able to sit up without your hands on the ground. And I like to gradually sink back into this position, slowly ease my body into this position. Once I found it comfortably, I can stay here, put a timer on, 30, 60 seconds, something like that. Next, we're going to talk about above the ankle, so everything in the shin and calf range. So first, we're going to talk about the front part of the shin. This muscle is going to help stabilize our ankle from the front. This is called the tibialis, and the easiest way to strengthen this is through tibialis raises. So you're going to find a wall, lean your back all the way down to your hips against the wall. Place your toes in front of you. A little bit hard to see here, I'm going to move over. So that your feet are on the ground. Bringing your feet closer to the wall will make this movement easier. Bringing them further away from the wall will make this movement harder. And you're basically just going to pull your toes back and up. Up and slow on the way down. Because this muscle gets a lot of use, we need to do more reps in order to really start to fatigue that muscle and encourage it to get stronger. Sets for this exercise tend to be in the range of 20, maybe even 30 reps until you start to feel some work on the front of your shins. Next, we're going to talk about getting the back of the leg as well to balance that out. There are two parts of your calf in particular that we want to focus on. There's the gastroc, which is the larger up here, and the soleus, which runs underneath it. Both of these are involved in positions that we use in capoeira. The first one, the upper part of the calf, we're just going to do calf raises. The standard way to do this is to find a block or some sort of elevated position. You can use a stair, you can use a chair or something that you want to stand on, anything that's stable. You're going to place the ball of your foot on the object and let the heel rest below. Helpful to do this in front of a wall or something so that you can maintain your balance. You're going to let your heel go all the way down and then explode up and slow on the way down. Coming all the way down to a fully stretched position, hanging out for a second, and then back up. So down, hold, explode. Slow down, hold, explode. Slow down, hold, explode. You can do this with body weight first, doing sets in the range of 10 to 15 repetitions, sometimes up to 20. If that gets to a point where it's easier and you want to add a little extra challenge, I don't have barbell weights here at home, but dumbbell weights here at home. If you have them at the gym, you can use those. I'm going to use these as an example of what that would look like. It's the exact same movement. You're just going to hold a weight. You can either do it on the opposite side, like I have here, or you can do it on the same side, up and down. Similarly, you're going to work in the 10 to 15 rep range, maybe adding weight. As you add weight, you might go a little bit lower and build back up, something like that. Finally, we're going to get an exercise for the soleus specifically, which is also a version of a calf raise, but we're going to do it a little bit differently. You're going to place your foot on the floor fully, and you're going to start to push your knees over your toes. This knee over toe position is going to cause the upper part of our calf to relax a little bit, which is going to allow us to focus on the lower part of our calf. You can balance here, one hand on the wall. You can do this with weights or with body weight. And the idea is you're going to try to maintain this bent knee position and explode up through the ball of the foot, through the arch, and come back down. What I'm not doing is straightening my leg as I come up. I'm trying to maintain that exact same bent position all the way through the movement. Again, 10 to 15 reps. You can do 2 or 3 sets of these with or without weight, depending on where you're at. Finally, after doing all of the exercises for the calf and the shin here, you may need to stretch your shins out. You can do this by coming back down to the ground, tucking your toes under this time, and then sitting back. And then from here, you can either do this with some weight on the floor in front of you, depending on how stiff your shins and ankles are, or you can do this in a seated position, or you can even start to lean back to get more of a stretch on the shins. So, all of those things are going to help improve your ankle mobility and make your ankles feel more comfortable in positions like this, which are common positions in capoeira. Again, we went through stabilizing the ankle for single leg balance, stabilizing the foot for single leg balance, then went into strengthening the toes, finally going into strengthening the shins and the calf muscles. All of those things come together to make for a nice, strong, stable ankle that can move around through a lot of the positions that we want to move around in. I hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you in the next one.